Hello, everybody. I've hit record now. So, welcome to our Uganda Volunteer Project info session. My name's Jack. I'm from Play Action International. We're joined by Amelia and Emma from your university as well to talk to you a little bit more about the volunteer project. So, without further ado, I'm going to start sharing screen, tell you about this awesome opportunity for students at Bournemouth and basically how we can make 2021 a year to remember. Now, I don't know about you, but 2020 has been far from ideal so far in terms of things and plans that we wanted to do. A lot of things have been cancelled or postponed. And so next year is going to be the year to make up for all of that through this fantastic opportunity that we have for you to build a playground in Uganda, 14 days, have the most incredible trip imaginable, make some lifelong memories, learn some incredible skills, and make a difference to thousands of children's lives. So here we go. My question, and we always ask this at the beginning of our sessions, is what are you doing next summer? Are you going to be that person who is scrolling through Instagram, jealous of other people's snaps who have managed to go away? Are you going to be eating that tub of Ben and Jerry's that you've been going to ever since lockdown came into place? Are you going to be rewatching Tiger King for the 9th time? Or are you going to do something incredible, do something unique, and do something really beneficial for you, your personal development, as well as to the lives of many others, and experience Uganda and volunteer in Uganda for 2 weeks? So introducing our experience of a lifetime, that is the Uganda Volunteer Project. It is something unique. It is something that is going to really be helpful for you moving forwards in terms of the skills it's going to teach you, not just through volunteering, but your journey towards that point as well. You're going to meet some incredible people, make some lifelong friends, some absolutely unbeatable memories during your time at Bournemouth University. And you're going to be, whilst you're in Uganda, immersing yourself in local culture, enriching children's lives through the power of play, getting to see the beauty that Uganda has to offer. That's one thing that all of our volunteers say when they come back from Uganda is what an incredible landscape it is there, stunning scenery. If you go on Time Out or Lonely Planet, Uganda is always in top 100, top 50 destinations to go in terms of a traveling experience. And not only that, you'll get to experience a culture that's completely different to yours. And this is really important in maybe the global world moving forwards, for you to have a global outlook and be aware of different cultures and sensitivities and different ways of life, because it's going to make you ready made for the world of work, which is a global workplace these days. So, building a playground. We'll talk a little bit more about why we do this and the benefits that it has. But on the volunteer project, you will spend 14 days basically arriving together with other volunteers, where we pick you up, we take you for orientation, where you have a couple of drinks with your friends and getting to know them as well, with people that are on the trip there with you, before anxiously getting an early night ahead of your first day at your new school. And when you arrive at this school, you're going to basically see what can only be described as an empty field, like completely empty, like barren, so much so. And you will spend the next 2 weeks transforming that empty playing field into a playground that's bursting with fun, excitement, colour, and it's going to be safe for these children to play on. You'll integrate yourselves as part of the community, and what that means is not only will you be building the playground, you'll get involved with some of the play-based education sessions, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and also get to know some of the local people, because really a playground is more than just building a playground for a school. It's giving something to a community for them to all benefit from. You'll work with our local team. Now, this is really important for us. As a volunteering opportunity, we are all about ethical and sustainable volunteering. There are some volunteering opportunities where you'll be doing some work out there, volunteering, which actually takes away jobs from local people. We are so against that. In fact, we are so against that we've built a model around volunteering that creates jobs, not takes them away. So you'll be just taking part in the unskilled labor of building a playground. So you'll be doing things like digging holes for the foundations of some of the taller structures of a playground with a slide or a swing and something like that. You'll be mixing cement, but not with one of them fancy washing machine thingies, the cement washing machines, whatever they are. Really bad term of language for that, but I'm sure they've got a specific name. Cement mixer. Oh, you'll be doing it by hand, and you'll be able to get involved with that to make sure that everything's nice and sturdy and in place. Likewise, you'll be doing some sanding, making sure there are no sharp edges on the playground. You'll be doing some bolting of some tire animals together to make them into like little rhinos, elephants, so that children can go on an imaginative safari experience. And not only that, you'll get to paint and leave a design that you've basically worked upon. You get to put handprints on different parts of the playground to kind of leave your legacy there. And that's the cool thing about our volunteering experience as well, is that you get to have first-hand like experience and the first-hand witness of what you're basically fundraising for and what you're working towards. Okay, you get to see that firsthand and you get to see how that's going to impact those children at that school. You'll be leaving a legacy for thousands of children to benefit from. So not just the hundreds of children that are at that school, but the hundreds more children that are going to be coming through that school for years to come. Our playgrounds have 10 to 15 years lifespan, but we are maintaining that throughout the year anyway. But by supporting Play Action International, you are supporting more playgrounds being built, not just at other community schools, but also in refugee settlements as well. Creative play. Now, a day of volunteering, or the day in the life of a volunteer, will look like this. You'll probably get up around 8 o'clock, have a bit of breakfast at the school, and then you'll do some volunteering from about 8:30, 9 o'clock to about 12. You'll have some breaks in between. You get fruit snacks actually as halfway through the morning, which is delicious because the fruit is so fresh and so tasty and so sweet. But then in the afternoons, because volunteering can be tiring work under the warm Uganda sun, you'll get to go into the classrooms with the kids and basically see firsthand the impact that our creative play sessions have on children. These are basically ways in which we can engage children to learn concepts and understand the lessons that they're being taught in a fun and engaging way. Places like Uganda and third world countries, they have very much a chalk and talk style teaching method, or rote learning, which is very much when a teacher stands at the front, kids are all in front of them, and they basically chant, question and answer, children chant it back. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 4 is 8, etc., etc. I've kept it really simple maths wise because I'm terrible at maths, so I didn't want to trip myself up on any 3 times tables. But basically, what happens is you'll give children the opportunity to understand concepts of maths. So, for example, whether they're going outside and pretending to be shopkeepers who are buying and selling goods, and they actually have coins in their hands. That's going to cost 5 coins. Okay, well, I've got 6 coins. What change do I get? And they get to hold it and feel it as well. There's loads of fun games that you get to play as well. Learning alphabet with them is always a great one. Finding objects in and around the classroom and around their school that begin with different letters, colors, maths, you name it. We're able to basically harness the power of creative, fun sessions for children to learn and develop through play. And we'll talk about why play is so important for a child's development a little bit more in a bit. But these afternoons are awesome. They're around 12 till about 3 o'clock. You'll get to basically play games, get to know some of the kids as well, and get to kind of be really involved in that school, which is always nice. Some volunteers have actually gone back to the schools that they've built playgrounds at in years after they've been out on projects. So you really will get to be involved with that school and get to know the staff and the children there as well, which is nice. Now, not only that, when you're in the Pearl of Africa, why wouldn't you want to go and do some further exploring or some fun activities? There's so much stuff for you to get involved with. When you're in Uganda, the big 5 are there to go on safari. So why not go and do that? You can access that really easily from where you'll be. Not only that, you can take on the legendary River Nile by kayak. If that's not your thing, you can do some stand-up paddle boarding. You guys being close to the sea, obviously at Bournemouth, you might be interested in that more so than maybe some of the other opportunities that are there. Kayaking is awesome. They've got an amazing whitewater rafting rapid section, which is really, really good fun. But likewise, if you'd rather stay on land, do something a little bit more low-key, you can do some quad biking, horse riding, kick back on a hammock with a beer or a soft drink, overlooking the River Nile and just watching the world go by, because it's a stunning place. You will really get to see the stunning beauty that's on offer in Uganda. But ultimately, the one day that you're working towards, or the most special day, I should say, that you're working towards for all of our volunteers that come out to Uganda with us, is Playground Opening Day. This is the most memorable, rewarding, special, life-shaping, emotional day that our volunteers have during their time with us, because it is basically the first time that children will have been allowed to play on the playground. And the memories that you have from this day will stay with you for the rest of your life. I guarantee you that. And it has for all of our volunteers who have been out with us. So it is a day full of celebration, day full of songs, performances, speeches, more speeches. Ugandans love a speech out there, but they'll get loads of people from, or they'll get local people of importance, friends, family of children, and the community involved in these days. And the children are just sat there with this playground roped off, listen to all these speeches and dances and stuff like that. And there's only one thing on their mind, to be honest with you, whilst this is all going on, and that is, I want to get on that playground, and I want to get on that playground now. So you can imagine, if it's the first time that they would have been allowed to play on this playground, the anticipation that's just running through their heads, like listening to people speaking. I think the longest opening day that they've had is about 3 or 4 hours. Ridiculous. Children being asked to sit there for ages, just being, I just want to go down the slide. I just want to go down the slide. And so what happens is we have a countdown ceremony and a ribbon cutting ceremony. And once they count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, and they cut that ribbon, the playground that you and your friends that you've made on this trip and this incredible journey disappears under a swarm of children, like under a sea of children. Like, you have not seen anything like it, because the children are so excited to play on everything and anything all at the same time. They want to go down the slide, they want to go on the swings, they want to go on the seesaw, they want to climb up the equipment, they want to go underneath and through the tires. They want to do absolutely everything and anything. And the moment that you get to see the happiness and the smiles on children's faces whilst they're playing on this playground that you've poured your heart and soul into creating with your friends is something that will change the way that you look at life, put everything into perspective, not just your last couple of weeks volunteering, but also the months beforehand leading up to that point when you've been fundraising and doing it, and just trying to get that motivation for, this is going to be worth it, because I promise you, this is the day that is going to put everything in perspective for you. There'll be happy tears on this day, that's for sure. I don't think there's ever been a day where there's not been a dry eye in the room. So this is such an incredible day and such a special day for everyone who's involved, and especially the children, because this is the legacy that you will be leaving for these kids, not just for the children that are there at that school at that time, but for generations to come, and also the other playgrounds that you'll be helping support and fund for your fundraising for Play Action International. If you've got questions, by the way, guys, please do feel free to whack it in the chat. Just whilst the itinerary is up here, I'm not really going to go over this, to be honest with you. If you watch this on a mobile device or have a mobile device to hand, just take a picky of it, just so you can see what it looks like in terms of what you'll be doing on each day. We just have been running these trips since 2009, and so have a good grasp of activity to rest to kind of adventure sort of ratio. So yeah, I won't leave that on them too long. Now, the details, the main details here. So you will be spending 14 days in Uganda. Now, we've got 2 project dates. One specific project date, which are for Bournemouth students, just so that throughout the year you can get to know other people from Bournemouth who are going on the same trip as you, and then also spend your time out in Uganda with them as well, is the 19th of June to the 3rd of July 2021. Don't worry if you cannot make those dates, because we also have our second project dates on the 28th of August to the 11th of September. Registration fee. Now, to secure your place on project, you will need to pay a registration fee of £150. That is refundable within the first 7 days of signing up. But what that covers, and we're transparent with all the costs that we have for volunteers and potential volunteers, is not only does it secure your place on the project, one, but it actually goes towards all your fundraising support that you'll get from us at Play Action International throughout the entire year. So we're putting on fundraising training through workshops. We'll also be giving you fundraising resources throughout the year, like festive ideas, like Christmas coming up, Easter, group fundraisers as well. We'll be able to book you on as and when they're allowed. So maybe doing a street collection or putting up events in town or at uni, for example, as and when they're allowed as well. Likewise, it will be going towards all your personal support that you'll get from us. So us checking in with you, helping you out with your fundraising throughout the year, making sure that you've got everything that you need. Our job is to help you fundraise. Like, it's not a case of you sign up and we go, see you in Uganda. It's not that at all. We are going to help you every single step of the way. So if you've never fundraised before, then you will be well looked after every single step of the way. Which brings me on to your fundraising target, which is £1,100. If you've never fundraised before, don't worry, because 90%, 95% of the people who join these projects are in the same boat as you. They haven't fundraised before, not fundraised to this size before, or they've not volunteered before. 1,100, you might think, oh, that sounds a lot, but I promise you, over the course of an academic year, that is such a manageable target and so manageable with, and especially achievable with the support that you get from us throughout the year. So don't worry about that if it's something you've not done before, because one, you'll be in the same boat as other people. Two, we'll be able to support you every single step of the way. Now, personal costs. These are things that aren't included. Because we are a charity, we can't organise things like flights for you because we're not a travel agent, etc. But we can advise you as to when and where you should book your flights so that you're coming on the same flights as other volunteers. Flights are the biggie for personal costs, because personal costs can be around £800 mark, depending on when you're looking at booking stuff like this. Flights, the biggie, around £600 at the moment, last time I checked. They'll only go up after Christmas as well, so the sooner you can get that done, the better. Then you've got insurance, which is around about 50, 60 quid. Visa, 35 quid. Vaccinations, depending on how much travel you've done before, whether you've been to Africa before, can range from £0 all the way up to £120. So don't worry though, that's not all unloaded on you at one point. We take you through step by step the things that you need to worry about at which time. So when to do your flights, when to do your insurance, when to do your vaccinations and visas, etc. Optional activities. So we talked about safari, whitewater rafting, stand-up paddle boarding, quad biking, chilling out. They start from £50. So quad biking and horse riding is around about 50 for a few hours out on the quad bike or a horse. Safari starts at around £320, £350. If you want to do everything, you can. People have done in the past, but because it's not a core part of the project itself, it's not included in your fundraising target. Lovely. Ethics and sustainability. For some of you, it might not be that important. For us, it's super important. And for a lot of our volunteers, it is also important as well, who are looking for ethical and sustainable volunteering opportunities. First and foremost, I think this is the most important thing. I mentioned it earlier. We are an ethical volunteering opportunity. You are creating jobs by volunteering with Play Action International, not taking them away. Okay? You'll be taking part in all the unskilled labour, so that we can leave the skilled labour to our Ugandan build team, who we basically hire from basically the amount of money that we can raise. And the more money we can raise, the more playgrounds we can build. The more playgrounds we can build, the more staff we need. And they do things like welding, cutting, all the basic technical aspects that you need from building playgrounds. So you do not need to worry about that. Likewise, 100% of the funds that you raise goes towards charity. There are no third parties involved with our projects. So every single penny that you raise will go to us. There's no middle person profiting from your fundraising whatsoever. Also, what is really important is that we provide all of our volunteers with training and awareness around what ethical volunteering looks like, what the debate around volunteerism and white saviorism. If you've never heard of them things before, that's fine, but I just encourage you to Google it afterwards to understand kind of the concepts and some of the debates around volunteering opportunities, especially international ones, and also making sure that you are well aware of cultural differences, safeguarding before you head out, so that when you come out to Uganda, you know, you can basically integrate into community a lot quicker. So yeah, volunteering, you are creating jobs, not taking them away. And we are a green organisation. It's not an add-on to what we do. So at a lot of our playgrounds that we build, we are building trees alongside them. Likewise, some of our other projects support the reintroduction of indigenous plant species in deforested areas alongside the riverbanks, and also instilling beehives to basically give local people a source of income and speed up that process of biodiversity. Likewise, we're involved with the managing of invasive plant species in the waterways that blocks up dams, traps boats, and also kills off plant life in those waterways, and turn it into renewable forms of energy and cooking fuel for local people. So we're a super green organisation throughout, and it's not just an add-on. We do as much as we can to offset the costs, our carbon footprint. And together, we can make a difference with our supporters. So let me tell you a little bit more about our charity, our awesome charity, Play Action International. In a nutshell, we provide a brighter future for vulnerable and disadvantaged children of Uganda. Now, to date, since we were founded in 2009, we have built over 370 playgrounds and impacted well over 500,000 children and given them their right to play. We don't just build playgrounds in the summer for these volunteer projects. We are building playgrounds all year round, and not just in schools, but also in refugee settlements as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about the importance of that and how play can be pivotal to helping children rebuild their lives through play after experiencing a crisis. Not only that, our work has led to us having over 80 members of disadvantaged young adults on staff. So young adults who perhaps hadn't had many options or perhaps on the wrong path down in life. We have then given them and put them through an apprenticeship program, an apprenticeship scheme where they can gain employment and qualifications to get employed either elsewhere, to then be involved with our projects and the building of playgrounds as well. But the number one thing that I'd say is really important about the importance of our playgrounds that we build at schools is, one, at the schools that we've built playgrounds at, the schools are better attended, so there's an increased attendance. Two, the children are performing better in their academic tests and exams. And three, and I'd actually say this is the most important thing out of them all, is that children are happier and healthier in terms of the schools that we've built playgrounds at. Many of them say that the playground is a reason why they like school or they go to school. Okay, so it's really important that children are able to access these play opportunities at their school in a safe environment. And play right now is more important than it has ever been. Okay, play is the way that children interact with the world around them. It's how they make sense of the world. It aids their learning and their development. Basically, play teaches you skills that are essential for your future success and your life. In fact, there was a study done in 2015 by Playground Ideas who found that children who were given play-based intervention scheme at a young age in an impoverished area, those children 20 years later were earning 42% more in terms of their annual earnings, 42% more than children who were not given those opportunities to access play at an early age. So when you peel back the layers of what play is teaching you, it is teaching you some really important skills, how to interact with others around you, how to self-regulate your emotions, how to basically go about your life and interact with others and help you find a brighter future. So I'm not going to read this story, but so feel free to read it right now, but I'll give you a bit of context. Peter is a refugee child from South Sudan. He was about 7 years old when we first met him. If you've ever heard of South Sudan in the news, it's never been for the right reasons. It's usually because of the conflict that's going on there. And Peter arrived from South Sudan to a refugee settlement that we work at called Bidi Bidi, which is the size of the city of Birmingham, to give you a sense of scale of how big it is. It's the second largest refugee settlement in the world. And he arrived basically having experienced a lot in his short life. At 7 years old, no parent or guardian came with him. He arrived alone, and child-headed households are more common than you would like to think in places like Biddy Biddy. So when he finally got a chance to come to the playground, he always had his stick with him, and it wasn't just any old stick, it was a sharpened stick to keep him protected and keep him safe at all times. The more he started playing, the more he would leave it down by the edge of the slide rather than going down the slide with it or being on the swings with it. And eventually he got reunited with his sister Grace, who was younger than him. And the amazing thing was the fact that Peter then started bringing his sister Grace to this playground with him. And when he was bringing Grace to the playground, he left his stick behind completely. He was introducing her to all the other children that were there. And together, Peter and Grace and all the other children that are at that playground were laughing, joking, smiling, being able to be children despite everything that they've experienced in their short lives already, from fleeing from conflict, trauma, war, for their own safety, and being able to be kids again and help rebuild their lives through the language that children know best, and that is play. Those two now are, according to their social worker Isaac, the two of the last kids to leave the playground each day now. No stick in sight whatsoever, and being able to see that transformation in Peter has been truly remarkable and demonstrates how play can have a profound impact on children's lives, especially those who have experienced trauma and in a crisis, which right now we're all doing. Global pandemic as well is something to consider as well. But there are thousands of children like Peter and Grace, not just in Uganda, not just in Biddy Biddy, but across East Africa, across the globe, and we're wanting to be able to give them access to a childhood, to give them the brighter future that they deserve. And so we are passionate about working together with you, and together we are able to make it happen. So we have lovely help from myself, our fundraising officer Shannon, also our lovely Amelia, who's over there. Hello Amelia, I'm waving at you again. And we're able to give you in-depth fundraising training, one-to-one fundraising help, because our job is to help you fundraise. So like I said earlier, if you've never fundraised before, it does not matter, because we're here to show you the way. Okay, we're going to be there with you every single step of the way, from the moment that you sign up to the moment that we're waving goodbye to you in Uganda on your way back home. But we're able to give you loads of guidance, give you some advice around flights, insurance and activity booking support, tell you when you need to worry about them or need to get them sorted, so it doesn't all just come onto your plate at once. And the lovely thing about this year, if there's anything lovely to take away from the year 2020, is the fact that virtual meetings means that we can be everywhere and anywhere. Now, that's not to sound creepy, as if like we're Big Brother watching over you all the time, but we can set up Zoom meetings. Usually we'd be doing these sessions at your university in person, and it would have been lovely to have seen everyone today. But the great thing is that we're super accessible and super contactable through Zoom, Facebook, email, so that we can set up anything that you need from us when you need it. And fundraising, haha, piece of cake. Bit of a pun there. We have, although there's a bit of a shift in terms of what fundraising is going to look like this year, so maybe a move away from things like street collections for now and cake sales on campus for now, we're able to give you some awesome ideas to help you with virtual fundraising. So being able to change your cake sale into a cake delivery service, being able to do some virtual half marathons or 10Ks or 5Ks, or doing something that you enjoy and sharing it with people and sharing your skills and your talents to your networks online. We'll help you with the starting blocks, so getting you mapping who you can go to and what kind of events you can do, but also get you involved as and when appropriate with things like group fundraising and individual fundraising activities. Not only that, you'll get loads of training from us throughout the year. So we're doing fundraising workshops. We'll give you some resources and support and how you can use that, and sharing what's worked with other people on our community Facebook groups, so that basically you will have a flurry of ideas of what you can do, also know what's worked really well for some, and also get a bit of help from us if you're struggling for maybe a couple of concepts of what ideas you've got. But you will have that dedicated staff member to follow you. Again, sounds a bit like Big Brother and a bit creepy, but not literally. But we're there to follow you throughout your journey of fundraising and help you every single step of the way. And it's been done before. We have taken thousands of volunteers out to Uganda since 2009. And every one of them has managed to get it, so get to their fundraising target, bar a handful of people. And I could probably count on one or two hands how many people didn't make it out. So we know that you can do it. Some people and some ideas that have worked well in the past. People love doing Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or online Zoom sessions where they're basically getting their friends together, doing a challenge, whether it's eating a disgusting fruit. Ollie, for example, is eating a durian fruit here, which apparently tastes like vomit. He's also got some fermented fish in a tin. Goodness knows where he's buying these things. He also had a childbirth simulator. Again, no idea where he's getting these things, but he then basically streamed himself online, putting himself through all these ordeals and challenges, and basically got people to donate to basically reach the next level of what he'd be doing. If that's not your thing, you're not interested in things like eating the world's hottest chili or anything like that, you can get physical. I want to get physical. Sorry, that song's been in my head all day. You can do things like virtual half marathons, as I mentioned, 5Ks, 10Ks. You've got apps like Strava, which are awesome ways to track your progress and actually show to your supporters that you're putting in an effort for their donation. That's one thing that's always worked traditionally well, is the fact that people are working for their donation. So, for example, I think someone this year, in fact, did unicycling across Dartmoor, which I think sort of Devon, Exeter sort of way, which I have no idea how he came up with that idea, but it worked really well. He used Strava, documented his whole journey. Someone did a 5K a day for 30 days. Again, documented it all on Strava, worked fantastically well and got people donating as well. But if you're not physical and you're not interested in sports, you can get all crafty and use your skills and your hobbies to your benefit. So, for example, if you are a keen baker, you can do that cake delivery service that I talked about. If you're interested in knitting, someone last year during this time of year was knitting together items of warm layers and clothing to donate to her local homeless shelter. And every time that she reached certain amount of donations, it would then cover the cost of her getting the materials and also the labor and the time it took to do it, so that she could then take over 5 hats, a few blankets and some scarves to a local shelter to give out to rough sleepers in her town. But also, being at Bournemouth, you've got a fantastic beach, which we saw how it was not as well looked after during the lockdown or before lockdown hit. People leaving litter, and people always leave litter on the beach. Grinds my gears to this day. So you can organise beach cleanups and park cleanups. There's also some lovely green spaces at Bournemouth. Get involved, get some friends involved, get them to share some info, and people will donate for you to basically do things like that. Beach cleanups, park cleanups, town centre cleanups. It's been great for getting people to, again, show that you're willing to put in effort for their donation. And in terms of why fundraising is going to be beneficial to you, right now, we've seen on the news that there's been around, well, last time I heard was a few weeks ago, so it'll be no doubt even more than this. It was 750,000 jobs have been lost as a result of the pandemic. That'll only go up over the next couple of years, or next year or so at least. And so I feel for students, because the one thing that means is that when it comes to graduating and finding a job, there's going to be more competition for potentially fewer jobs. And so your time at university isn't just about getting a degree and getting that lovely piece of paper and wearing that funny old hat with the old tassel to the left, and then apparently you switch over to the right once you graduated. Who knew that was a thing until my graduation day? I had no idea. And if that's news to you, you'll get to learn that at some point. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, it's about standing out. What else is there that you're going to do during your time at Bournemouth that is going to set you out compared to everybody else? Because there's going to be loads of other people who are going to have a first or a 2-1 or a Desmond 2-2, as I like to call it. There's not only going to be people at your university that have got that same or similar degree, but there's going to be students at other universities that have got the same degree or similar. And so what is it that's going to set you apart from everybody else? And it's going to be volunteering with Play Action International in Uganda and doing something incredible, but also the skills that you're going to learn on that journey is going to also get you to learn how to organize events, manage social media campaigns, pitch to members of the public, be able to manage your time efficiently because you'll have studies, fundraising, and a social life. Not necessarily in that order. Mine was more social life more than anything before my studies. There we go. And you'll also get to basically demonstrate to these employers what you learned during your time at university, because no doubt they'll be more interested to hear about what you've been doing about this compared to maybe your degree. And they will snap your hands off knowing that there's a student that's got all this experience moving on to the world of work. And lastly, before we get into questions, again, don't forget, whack the questions in the box, in the chat box. Uganda is tourist friendly and safe, if not safer than most of Europe. That is Foreign Commonwealth Office advice. Okay, so it is safe, if not safer than most of Europe. If it was not safe, we simply would not take volunteers there. We've been taking volunteers to Uganda since 2009. Lastly, or second lastly, we are an accredited partner of your university. The reason that you can see me here, at least I think you might be able to see me here in the screen at the top, hello, is because we have gone through our due diligence checks with your university, basically to check out that we are who we say we are, we do what we say we do, and the money that we say goes where it goes to where we say it goes. Sometimes you might find opportunities online, which I would always err on the side of caution, especially if there's not been given the seal of approval by your university, just to make sure that it's all safe, etc. And lastly, I cannot stress this enough, the staff support that you'll get from us from the moment you sign up to the moment you arrive back home will be second to none, because like I said, it is our job to help you fundraise. So don't worry about it, we've got you covered. And lovely, we've got questions here. So if there are any more questions in the chat box, I will answer them right now. I'm just going to stop sharing for now, at least. Just give me a bit of a break and actually see that there's still people alive in this room. Brilliant, lovely. And one question that we usually get, in fact, this is worth pointing out because the whole kind of situation with what's going on in the world is around COVID-19, the Rona, Corona V. I don't know any other ways that people have been referring to it. Maybe there might be some certain slang in Bournemouth for it that I haven't heard just yet. What happens if that affects trips next year? Always a great question to ask, and we always want to reassure our students that are coming on our trips. So if for whatever reason travel is disrupted next year, although we are fully confident that projects are going to go ahead next year, that we have until June and August if necessary, so that's a heck of a long time away. No matter how doom and gloomy it seems right now, we do have loads of time on our side. We will just defer people onto projects next year. So what that means is that you'll get an extra year to fundraise, you'll get moved onto projects next year, you don't need to pay a deferral fee or anything like that, and everything's all sorted and tickety-boo, just to give you peace of mind. Because the last thing we want to do is put our volunteers and the communities that we serve at risk and therefore keep you safe. So that's what's happened this year for our volunteers. That's what happened this summer for our volunteers, at least. So don't worry, they're going out next year. They haven't been given any other extra deferral fee, etc. They've been given an extra year to fundraise, and so will you. Lovely. One question I've got also is, if I've got placement this year, can I still volunteer in my final year? Yes. What I would also say is we have a deferral scheme. So what happens is, if for whatever reason before project dates are due to go out, you wanted to go next year for things like you might have placement or etc., I'd say you can just defer your place, because then you basically can do as much fundraising as you can this year. And then also when you defer, then it means if you know that you're going out the year after, you've also managed to get a good bit of fundraising under your belt and basically minimize and reduce that target a little bit as well. You'll be surprised, depending on if you speak to your placement, for example, about being involved on this opportunity. I know there's been a lot of people who have been on placements or were due to go out on placements who are then umming and ahhing whether they can get involved. I said just speak to the person who you're going on placement with, or to university. You'll be amazed at how flexible that people will be, especially when they know that you're going on an opportunity that is only going to just help you with your development and also make a difference to loads of people as well. So speak to your placement opportunity about that and see what they say as well. But people can volunteer whenever they want, basically. We've had first years, second years, final years, postgraduates, PhD students, master students, you name it. We've had volunteers from everywhere. And then likewise, one question I always get asked, or what we always get asked, is what happens if I don't reach my fundraising target? And I think that's one thing that we usually get asked by people who've not been on projects before. First of all, as cliche as it sounds, you will reach your fundraising target. I promise you that, okay? We will basically be able to keep tabs on how you're getting on throughout the year. And basically, if we feel as if you need any additional help and a bit of a boost, we will be in contact with you. But likewise, if you need any additional help, you need a bit of extra pizzazz, then with your fundraising, then just let us know. We're able to help you with that and get you sorted. If need be, we can just add an extension to your fundraising deadline to give you a bit more time to get that extra donations on board. And likewise, if you get that extension, we'll work with you specifically on a personalized fundraising plan of how you're going to achieve the rest of the amount that you've got to raise. Lovely. Any other questions? Feel free to get in touch with me at jack@playactioninternational.org, or you can add me on Facebook, Jack Butterfield PAI. I'd like to think that name's unique enough that no one else has got that, so you're not adding some rando. Likewise, if you're a bit more profesh and like LinkedIn, you can just search me on Jack Butterfield on LinkedIn. But coming to the end now, so I'm just going to share screen once more. And lovely. I'm going to show you a video. So hopefully it comes out quite well on here, but we will see. And this is basically what volunteers have said about our projects in years gone by. If you can get the screen to work, there we go.
The best part of the trip, without a doubt, is playing with the kids during creative play, because it's pretty mad. You get a different game each time, and oftentimes you look across at another volunteer and exchange like a knowing look about how mad this is.
You just get on so well together and you have such a laugh every single night after dinner. You play card games and tell stories and just get to know each other. You create such a bond. My favourite part of the trip has definitely got to be open day. It's the last day of project and these kids have been waiting for weeks watching us build this playground slowly, and we just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and they just absolutely run. They're so excited. The playground just disappears in children. It's just amazing. You get so emotional on the last day and it's just a great way to end the trip.
Lovely. Right, see if I can unshare this without it playing again. Yay, there we go. Brilliant. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of an insight of what our projects look like. But to summarize, why you should think about volunteering with us, or why you should volunteer with us in summer 2021 is: one, we are an experienced charity in the sector that's been created by students for students. As a result, our projects are affordable and great value for money. Our projects are sustainable and high impact in terms of the work that we do and the impact it has on children and the communities around them. We are a green organisation throughout. We are fully transparent with all costs and everything that you need to know before your time out there, and how you volunteering with Play Action International affects employment opportunities, etc., and how it creates jobs, not takes them away. Excuse me. We're able to give you dedicated support, and with this year we are increasing the amount of support that we're able to give you, be it online through fundraising workshops, one-to-one support, etc. And lastly, we are an ethical volunteering opportunity, and that is what sets us really apart from a lot of other opportunities that might be out there. So brilliant. Lastly, can I ask you that question again? What are you doing next summer? Okay, so if you're interested to sign up, head out to that link at the bottom below, or there's a nice cool little QR code in the top corner if it's not blocked by me talking. Hello. Scan it, take a screenshot, check us out, playactioninternational.org/volunteer in Uganda, and sign up ASAP. We've got a closing on deadlines on the end of term 1. However, we are running limited spaces this year, so once spaces are gone, and if they're gone before December, middle of December when universities split up, they will be gone. So make sure that you act quickly to avoid disappointment. If you've got any other questions that you want to ask us, do get in touch with us. Mention my Facebook, LinkedIn, and also email. And yeah, if you've got any questions, do get in touch. Lovely. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everyone for coming along. I'm going to end the recording now, but lovely to see you all if you made it this far, and we hope to see you in 2021. Lovely. Thank you guys.